Hello, everyone. My name is Omar Barberena, and I'm one of the employment development specialists from the Career Hub at matc. If you want to get a hold of me, you can also do that by sending me an email at barbero1 at matc.edu, or at any time you have any questions in regards to career preparedness, career readiness, resumes, interview tips. You can send me an email at careerhub at matc.edu, and any one of us can help you out. All right, so today, what you're going to learn. Okay, we're going to talk about what is student employment services, what are the benefits of preparing for an interview, 5 things that you must do before an interview. Also, what is the STAR technique, which is a very good technique that is used for many employers when they ask you interview questions, what you need to do the day of the interview, what you need to do during the interview time, okay, and after the interview, because you got to do many things before that so you can get a call from the interviewer. So, and also we're going to talk about what is a virtual interview. Most likely nowadays in this pandemic, although it might be finishing, we never know where we are. We're still doing a lot of interviews over the internet. So let's get started. Okay, Student Employment Services, who we are. For started, so we are located at the MATC campus downtown at the building S101. So come and see us, and everybody can help you with career readiness. Okay, what is our mission statement for Student Employment Services? We are here to assist you, graduates and employers, with employment needs and to provide career information resources. We are an on-campus resources to help students like yourself prepare to seek employment and successfully transition into the workforce. All right, our services, some of them are career research, salary, and market information. A lot of times you want to go into a job and you need to know what you are worth or what they're paying for. So you need to do that research and we can help you out with that. In addition to that, we help you with resume assistance. If you don't have a resume, we can help you to create one. We're not going to do it for you. We're just going to help you. Okay. But also, we can help you with mock interviews. You need to get ready. You need to be prepared for those tough questions that they're going to ask you, and we'll help you with that. What else do we have? We have employer spotlights, which is a good way for you to get connected with employers. We invite many employers in many different fields to come to us, and then you can talk directly to them, present your resumes, and ask any questions about that particular employer and job position. We also have career fairs that we have all around the Milwaukee County, and different campuses. And last but not least, you got to get on Handshake. Handshake is our platform, the best platform for you to not only connect with other students, but also to connect directly with employers. Many employers come to us looking for skills that you have developed in many of the programs that we have at MATC. They post their jobs and you can directly send them your resume. So make sure that you do have a Handshake account, and we're going to talk about it at the end. All right, so let's get started. Preparing for the interview. Why do you think it's important? Think about it. There are many answers to this question. Okay, one of them, interviewing is a skill, and practice helps you how to answer questions related to your role. So you want to be able to answer those questions that relates to the job that you're going to be doing, not about anything else. Okay. What else? Well, practice is also essential to becoming a better interviewee. The more you practice, the better you get. Remember when you're trying to learn how to ride your bike, the more you practice, the better you get until you know how to do it, almost by, naturally. All right. So practicing also is a time to work on your body language, appearance, and non-verbal communication. A lot of times we're not aware how we are playing with our hands when we are interviewing. Or sometimes we're touching our hands or the way we're sitting down. So you got to be able to find a posture that you're going to portray an appearance that you are confidence that you are ready and that you actually want that job. Okay, what are the benefits? Okay, the benefits is, you know, it improves your comfort level. You will see that as you come to us and we'll do the first practice. By the time you're done, by the third or fourth practice, you're ready to be on your own. Okay, also, it increases your confidence. Remember, the more confident you look or appears to be, the more chances are that you might get a call from the interviewer, from the job. Okay. Also, you can gain constructive feedback. We're going to give you some really good feedback. We're not here to criticize you, to put you down. We are here to help you to get that job and to make yourself be confident when you do those interviews. And the last but not least is you got to understand your body language. I can't stress enough, having a good body language is a good way to portray that you're confident, and you show that you really want that job. And it also shows a lot of professionalism as well. Are you ready? All right, let's see about that. And I'm going to make you ready as well. So let's talk about what are the 5 things that you need to do for the interview. What? First of all, like everything else, you're going to do a little bit of homework or maybe a lot, a lot of homework to get ready for the job. Okay. But these are the 5 things that you must do before an interview. First of all, goes without saying, you gotta research the company or the organization that you're applying for, the ins and out, how long they've been in the company. I mean, how long they've been operating on this venture. How many employers they have. They've been in the news, what new projects they have, everything that you need to do because that way you can talk about it in an interview or you may get a chance to be asked. You don't want to be in that position that they ask you, so what can you tell us about us? You don't want to be saying, well, I was hoping you tell me that, because then that would be a no-no. They'll, know that you're not a good candidate for the position because you haven't done part of your homework. So another thing that is really, really important for you is you have to understand what salary range is competitive. That's the leverage that you can bring to the company for the position. You know, First of all, if you know that you have a company or you're applying for someone that you're making minimum wage, you're not going to be able to say, pay me more. Or, that might not be a good company to work for. So you got to know the salary. And there are so many ways that you can find out about it. Going in Google, you come to us, we can help you out. But there's so many information about a salary that you want to find out, because that will make you a very good way to negotiate later on. Okay. In addition to that, you need to know what you bring to the table. Okay. You got to sell yourself. What you bring to the table is based on your resume. And we're gonna talk about it in another video that I have that talks about resumes. But some of the questions that they're going to be asking you is what you bring to the table, because they saw you on your resume. They saw something that is important for them to know, and they want to say, "Hey, tell us now what you bring to the table. Why are you so important? Why are you so valuable?" Okay. And I talked about before, prepare some examples. Behavioral questions are really important. And we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to show you a video about that too, because behavioral questions are important because the employer wants to know how do you react to certain situations, to a situation that you might have at work, maybe you had it in your classroom with a project, but how do you resolve it? Okay, don't worry about it. We're going to go into details later. Last but not least, practice, practice, practice. You gotta practice your delivery. Okay, it's not what you say, it's how you say it and how confident you look. Okay, so practice, practice, practice will never fail you. Let's go on to the next one. So let's talk about what are behavioral questions. Okay, we actually have a technique that is called the STAR technique. S for situation, T for task, A for action, and R for results. And this is how we break it down. Okay. So the situation when they ask a behavioral question, briefly, you got to explain the issue of the situation. Then you got to the task, describe the task, what you needed to do. In addition to that, then you have the action, which is discuss the action that you took to resolve the situation. And the last part is the result. Did you have an happy ending? Were you able to resolve the questions of the customers? So you gotta discuss the end result and what you learned about it. Really, really important because trust me, the employer is going to ask you this question without a doubt. So you have to be prepared, and I'm going to be showing you a video about this right now. So pay attention to this.
Like everyone else, interviewers love a good story. So when one says to you, "Tell me about a time you handled a difficult situation," you need to be ready with a fascinating tale, starring you as the hero. When the interviewer says, "Tell me about a time you handled a difficult situation," you should first introduce your role in the story. Then, explain why the situation was difficult. Next, describe the action you took to handle the situation. Finally, explain the lesson you learned from the experience. This is not what they want to hear.
There was a customer who came in one time and demanded a refund, even though she had obviously worn the item many, many times. We almost got into an argument, but I got my manager and he was able to calm her down.
That is not the type of story interviewers want to hear. The story described a difficult situation, but it didn't demonstrate how it was handled. Interviewers want stories about resilience, problem solving skills, initiative, and the ability to remain calm under stressful circumstances. And most importantly, it should have a happy ending, how you successfully handle the situation. They want to hear this kind of story.
I used to work in retail, and one day a customer wanted to exchange a really high end laptop I had sold her. There was something wrong with the battery. Unfortunately, we couldn't exchange it. We were out of stock. She was furious. I listened to her. I didn't interrupt. And before long, she calmed down. I checked online to see if any of our other stores had one and found one in Rhode Island. They shipped it overnight to our store, and she had a new working laptop the next day. She even called my manager to thank me for solving her problem with such personal attention. I learned that by patiently listening, I could diffuse a tense situation and turn an angry shopper into a satisfied, loyal customer.
Great story. When the interviewer says, "Tell me about a time you handled a difficult situation," you should first introduce your role in the story.
I used to work in retail, and one day a customer wanted to exchange a really high-end laptop I had sold her.
Then, explain why the situation was difficult.
She was furious.
Next, describe the action you took to handle the situation.
I checked online to see if any of our other stores had one and found one in Rhode Island. They shipped it overnight to our store, and she had a new working laptop the next day.
Finally, explain the lesson you learned from the experience.
I learned that by patiently listening, I could diffuse a tense situation and turn an angry shopper into a satisfied, loyal customer.
Awesome. So you can also apply it to any other situation. It doesn't have to be necessarily for what you see in the scenario. So now you have the ability to learn when you've been asked this question. Tell me about a time you had a conflict. Okay, let me give you another example, a different situation. But just like the video says, the situation, I was a team lead at a marketing agency, and one of my coworkers was working on a brochure, which was time-sensitive project. What was the task? Well, the brochure needed to be completed on time. We missed the first of the three deadlines. When I approached him about it, he blew up. Right, what was the action that I took? I remained calm. I acknowledged that the deadlines were tight, and I explained the importance of the team meeting the deadlines. I asked if I could be help. come up with a solution, and to help meet the deadline. What was the result? Well, the deadlines for the rest of the project were met on time, and my coworker thanked me for my support. So think about not only situations at work, but also you can have projects that you've done during your class times. So if you think about all this, you will come up with a scenario. But if you don't, we can help you with that too. Come and visit us, okay? All right. There are things that you also might sometimes get overlooked, things that you actually need to do to be ready for an interview before the day of the interview or during the interview before like an hour or so. So make sure that you eat a healthy meal prior to the interview. Why you want to do that? Well, you don't want to be overeat. If you ate too much, you might be sleepy or you might have a strong odor from what you ate. Make sure you don't have jalapenos or a lot of onions or something that is going to protect, something that's really strong because that creates some sort of a distraction from the interviewer. Okay. Have your clothes ready and set aside. It's really, really important. You don't want to be running around the day of the interview, not knowing what you're going to put on, or you're going to be putting some too bright colors, to colors that are maybe clothes that is going to be too revealing or that's not appropriate for it. So make sure that you set it aside and you know what you're going to be wearing for that interview. This is really important. Check your transportation, whether you're going to get a ride, whether you're going to take the bus, whether you're going to be using your bicycle, whatever it is that you need to do, make sure that it's in good working condition. Also, you got to determine the fastest route to get there. This is really important because you don't want to be late, you know, and we'll talk about what late means for this interview. And also, you don't want to be too much in a hurry because you might get a ticket. Just, if you go in your car and you going over the speed limit, and that will, you know, make you being late for that interview. Okay. And you get a good night's sleep the night before. Don't party, don't stay overnight late, because then you're not going to be able to be all of you 100% for the interview. All right. So what's up? Everybody's ready for the interview? All right. So let's continue. Now let's talk about what do you need to do the day of the interview. There are a few things. Nowadays, I'm in my office, I'm by myself, so I don't have to wear a mask. But when I'm out of my office, I need to wear a mask. So make sure that you do bring your own mask because sometimes they might not have it. Okay. But under this COVID-19 era, everybody needs to be wearing a mask. Arrive on time and dress professionally. I talked a little bit about it before. So you are getting your clothes ready the day before and you need to arrive on time. What does that mean, arrive on time? Is your appointment is at 1 o'clock? Are you going to get there at 1 o'clock? Most likely not. You need to be at least 15 minutes ahead of time. You do that because you don't know what might happen during that day, during that time that you're going to be for the interview. They might bump you earlier or they might bump you later. But whatever you do, be there at least 15 minutes ahead of time. You also have to be enthusiastic, courteous, and introduce yourself to all the people you encounter. The interview doesn't start on the time of the interview. The interview starts even before you get to the time of the interview. That means even sometimes from the parking lot, the moment you open the door. So you got to greet everyone, you got to say hello, you got to be enthusiastic because that gives you also energy so to be ready for the interview. In addition to that, you never know who they might ask you for opinions about yourself. Okay, so goes without saying, phone, put it away. Just put your phone away. You know what I would do? Leave it in your car. You don't need to have to worry about silent mode. Just leave it in your car. Forget about it. Stop doing selfies. Stop texting because you take it with you. Even if it doesn't ring, it's a silent mode. You will hear it. People will hear it. So safer, leave it in your car. Okay. Bring a paper pens and copies of your resume. You do that especially when you might have a panel interview. I can guarantee you someone might not have your resume with them, and then you can say, hey, I have an extra resume for you, and they will say like, this person is ready. Okay. Last but not least, do not wear perfume or cologne, especially those strong ones. Okay. Some people might be allergic to them, so they might be strong. So you got to make sure that there's no other distraction. You are putting yourself on the line, so you want them to be concentrated on you, you know, because you are the person who are the interviewing. We talked about virtual tips from the beginning that I told you that this is most likely nowadays you're going to have a virtual interview. So to do that, you can ensure that your internet connection is good. So make sure to, it's your home, let people know that you're having an interview. So everybody should be quiet, or everybody should be in a particular room and maybe not using the internet so it won't slow it down. If you have a problem for an interview too, if you have a virtual interview, come to our office. We'll help you. We have some great connections here at MATC that you can conduct your interview. Other things that you need to do is test the audio and the webcam. Make sure that you do have a good webcam that is not going to be interfering of not being clear. So in the audio, because you want to be able to hear them and you want them to be able to hear you. So to do that too, and I talked about it a little bit, the next thing that you can do is find a quiet setting with good lighting. Good lighting is important. So especially a rule of thumb would be for me, you got to be in front of the light. So make sure that your computer is behind a window. Okay. So that way the light is reflecting towards you and you are clear. Okay. Close other tabs or applications. I can tell you it fails so for so many people, because first of all, you're sharing your screen. Second of all, if you have too many tabs open, your computer will slow down, or applications as well. So make sure that you don't have anything else but the interview with you. Okay. And silence your phone. I said that before, and actually, I would think the better way for you is to put it away, put it somewhere else that you're not going to be able to hear, or just turn it off. Okay. You got it? Although you are also in virtual interview, make sure that you do have an eye contact, like I'm having with you. We're having a conversation. So, and I'm not nodding and not playing with my hands like that. I talked about gestures, your hands, you're not scratching everywhere. So, and also you are in a position that they see you, that you are sitting and you're, comfortably, and you're looking at them as well as they're looking at you. Again, dress professionally and avoid bright colors that will reflect on the computer, and and then at least from the waist up, they don't see you, so you gotta be applicable as well. So you gotta be in a professional way. Don't wear t-shirts that has you know names or stuff that are not appropriate. Make sure that you do that. Okay. And again, have a copy of resume, pen and paper, because you're going to be taking notes. And remember that they're probably going to be asking you questions about your resume. So you'll have it with you. So in case they ask you, what did you do for such and such company? You're not going to be thinking, did I actually put it in there or not? You're not going to remember in those stuff. If you have your resume with you, you know what they're talking about. What are the things that you need to do for the interview? Now you're going to the interview. You don't want to be like this lady on the picture just biting her nails. You got to be confident. You got to be in a way that you know what you're going for. Okay, make sure that you do have good eye contact. but not too much that you sound creepy, that you look creepy. Make sure that you're nodding, you're looking at people, depending upon how many people are interviewing you. You know, keep on maintain again a good posture because that will show confidence. Show confidence and passion about the job. That's what you've been practicing with us here. You gotta let them know that you're passionate about getting this job. You want this job. You want to stand out from the others. Okay. Keep responses professional and not personal. Don't talk about your personal stuff. Nobody wants to know about them, at least not for the interview. You can talk about it when you get hired, but not at this point. Okay. And take notes for the questions they ask, because not only that's going to help you minimize a little bit of the time that you need to answer them, but also going to help you get a good answer for that question that they ask you. Okay. You can also ask them to repeat it if you don't get it at the first time. And when you ask questions that you need to have questions, ask job related questions. Not about the salary right now. You talk about the salary once you get the offer. And I will have another video about that, but not right now. But make sure that when you ask related questions, you're not going to ask, how much are you paying me? Or what is the salary range? Because first of all, you don't your homework already. You already know. Okay. So, and remember, this is a two-way street. The reason you want to ask questions, not only because you want to sound important, you want to sound interested, but also because you want to know more as much about the company as they want to know about you. Because you might find out that this might not be a good fit for you. So why get into in a job and find out a week later, like, oh, what did I get myself into? Why didn't I ask these questions? So therefore, ask good questions, as many as you can, but not too many. A good rule of thumb, at least 3 to 4 questions would be a good number of questions to ask. All right. So what do you need to do after the interview? The interview is not finished yet, okay? Because you haven't closed the deal. Okay, you still got to do a few things. Make sure that you do write a thank you letter the same day. Okay. Make sure that you follow up with the employer in 1 week. And these are some of the questions that you can also ask, when would I expect to hear from you? And they most likely will tell you within a week or so, but a good rule of thumb is within a week, send them an email or send them a letter or send them a note or give them a phone call. Okay. But in a nutshell, this is what you need to do to follow up. Send an email, a thank you card to everyone who interviewed you and send it within 24 hours. You have the opportunity in this email or this letter to mention anything that you forgot to say during the interview. Also, you had the chance to address and correct any mistake that you made. In addition to that, you got to remind them that the interviewer why you are qualified for this position. So you go back to what you said, and you mention 3 or 4 things that stands out. Okay. Now I'm going to show you a really great video. It's about 4 minutes long that breaks it down in a really good way.
Arguably the most crucial part of the job search, an interview can make or break an opportunity. So to help you really prepare, we're going to dissect and analyze an entire interview from start to finish. I'll be sprinkling in a mix of tips about body language, etiquette, and how to answer common questions. Like, when exactly does the interview start? How do you deal with nerves? And how soon can you follow up? For years, athletes have used science and data analysis to improve. Now, we are doing the same for job seekers everywhere. This is Job Science. Meet Anya, a recent grad majoring in business administration. She's interviewing for an entry-level project management position. Note her posture. Head up, shoulders pulled back, No slouching and no laid backness. The interview begins the minute you walk into the building. Anya treats everyone in the office with respect while keeping eye contact. From security personnel to receptionists, anyone you run into on your way in could be asked to give feedback on you. It's normal to be nervous. When nerves kick in, the natural human response is to take short breaths and breathe faster. Stay calm by taking a deep breath before entering. Hold it, count to 3, and then slowly breathe out. Pause. First, ace those introductions. Greet everyone in a way that is authentic to you, like, hey, nice to meet you, and then say their name. That one always works. You're more likely to remember their name if you say it out loud when you first meet. A lot of the time, small talk comes up before any questions. It's good to have a few current events or topics in mind. You can't possibly predict what they're going to ask, but you can practice answering the common ones, like, why do you want to work here? What makes you unique? Let's see what our interviewer asks.
So I want to hear more. Tell me a little about your experience and what you'd bring to this role.
Pause. When this is asked, they're looking to learn what makes you stand out. Be honest with your answers. That means having to pause and think for a second. That is all right. Think about your past experiences and how the role lines up with your future goals. It never hurts to be honest.
Great question. Ever since I was young, I've always been the organized one in my family. Whether it was helping my parents schedule vacations or color coordinating my closet, naturally that lifestyle got me here, project management. I've been a people person for as long as I can remember. Plain and simple, I love team building and making sure everyone has a part. Just the other month.
Oh, just really quick, don't speak negatively about previous places you've worked. Instead, talk about what you've learned.
I helped lead a team of 5 to deliver a 3-week sales project a few days ahead of schedule. I'd love to bring these things here.
Perfect. A response like this not only answers the question, but also shows off her personality. But remember, there's no one right way to interview and answer questions. Be yourself and let your personality shine. Be aware of your movements. Practice polite, confident body language. Subtly miming your interviewer's posture can actually create a sense of connection. Of all places, unnecessary movements are hard to ignore in an interview. Whether it's tapping your fingers or bouncing your leg, be aware and stay present.
Hey, it's been great chatting so far. I guess my last question is, do you have any questions for me?
Ooh, this is a hot one. Make sure to have a short list of questions for your employer in your back pocket. Ask the questions you would if you got the job. If tomorrow was your first day, what would you want to know from the manager? Even if you don't have any burning questions, asking a few shows that you did your homework and that you really care. Some include, what do you like best about working here? What are some mistakes people have made in this position? What is a goal you're currently working toward? How will my performance be evaluated?
Well, I did read that you're expanding your software team next quarter. I'm curious how you plan to carry that out.
The interview isn't actually over. Always follow up within 24 hours with a thank you email to the hiring manager. This can be a quick note simply thanking them for their time, or a longer one that elaborates on some of the things you talked about. It's key to leaving a lasting impression. This was the breakdown of an interview. Till next time.
Awesome. That is a great video, and I hope you get a lot from that, not only from that, but also from my presentation. So, and at any time you want to come and see us, make sure that you come downtown S101. That's where we are. That's where I am, and I'll be more than happy to help you out in any questions that you might have in regards to the interviews, resume, or career readiness. I want you to get you prepared. This is my information. Like I said, Milwaukee campus S101, and this is our number 414-297-6244. And Handshake, make sure that you do have an accounting handshake, and I do have a slide for you to look at it. But also, you can follow us on Instagram, careerhub matc, or send us an email, careerhub@matc.edu. You can also send me an email at barbero1@matc.edu. Once again, thank you for joining us. My name is Omar Barberena, and I'm one of the employment development specialists here at Career Hub at MATC. Before I go, I want to show you the Handshake slide that I have for you. It's really, really important for each one of you to create an account in Handshake. Thank you. Hope you have a great day.